And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Evo is a good game. I can say that already. I'm not giving away much here because I like the original printing of Evo that came out quite a few years ago. I believe 2001 was when Evo first came out. And it came out, it was very cartoony. Now, you look at this, and it's not very cartoony at all. This is the reprint of the game, and they didn't change much at all. They changed a few minor details. But for the most part, the main thing they changed is the graphic design. Now, some people hated the old cartoony artwork. I liked it, and some people hate the new artwork, but I like it too. It's worthwhile. If you're a fan of Small World, this is by the same designer, Philip Chiartes, and this is a game that has some similarities in how it works. Let me show you. Evo comes with a bunch of maps for the different number of players. So, for example, here's a map for 2 players, here's a map for 4 and 3 and 5. And so, you can play with, a certain number of players. And what players are doing in this game is you're trying to get your dinosaurs onto the board and have fun, get more dinosaurs out, as many as you can, because each dinosaur that you get on board at the end of your turn is going to get you points, and you want to have the most points at the end of the game. Because at the end of the game, a big meteorite's going to hit and kill everybody anyway, and you want to have the most points. But up until that point, your dinosaurs are going to propagate, move across the land, etc. But it all depends on how they have evolved, which is where the name of the game comes from, Evo. And one of the things I like about the game, I like the little dinosaurs that you can use. I wish they were different shapes for the different kinds of dinosaurs. They're all brontosauruses, but that's kind of made up for in the artwork on the player cards. See, here you can see this. This is really, really nice artwork. And apparently there's these unusual people who are riding these dinosaurs and using them, but you can see the different colors have different dinosaurs. Of course, black's the coolest because they have the mini T-Rexes, but these cards are really important because as the game progresses, you are going to be bidding each turn on mutations, and that's on another board. So on this board here is mutations, and each turn of the game, different mutations are going to come out of the bag, and these mutations will have different effects on your dinosaur. And you can also bid on getting a card. There's a deck of cards that will give you special abilities. And so each player, let's say for example, we are playing a 4-player game. So we have 3 genes that come out, like this, and then we have 1 card. And on my turn, what I can do is I can bid. Let's say I say I'm going to bid 1 on this horn. And the red player says I'm going to bid 0 on this foot. Pink says, no way, Red, you're not getting that for 0. I'm going to put this on 1. Red says, okay, I'm going to take this for 2. Black says, you know what? I'm going to take this for 0. Actually, that's only 3 players. So this gene wasn't here. Once everyone has put theirs on the board somewhere, and it's going to happen because once you get to 6, no one can outbid you. And once everyone is on a different row, then everybody gets their gene and or card. Now, when you do that, you're going to put the gene on your matching spot. So let's say I got a foot, it would go here. If I got a horn, it would go here on the dinosaur. And there's cold genes and warm genes. Now, all this is important because each round of the game, we're going to be looking at another board. Seems like there's a lot of boards in this game, doesn't there? Now, this board is really important because this board here tells us what the temperament is going to be like. There's a little dial that moves around, and let's say, for example, here, on this one here, you can see several things. You can see that up here, it's cold in the white zones. In the yellow zones, you die. In the green zones, it's hot, and the brown zones, it's just right. That's the color here. So it will change as time goes by. Usually you'll end up with the green zones being fine to live in, and yellow zones are hot, white zones here you die, red zones you're cold. And so, or brown zones you're cold. And you're going to be able to tell that by looking at the board. It's pretty simple. So you have a certain amount of movement points each turn where you can move. Let's say I have 3 movement points. I can try to move dinosaurs to spots where they're going to survive. Because at the end of the turn, if you're on a spot that says you're dead. For example, if you're on any white spot, you're going to die. If you're on a cold spot, you're going to die also, unless you have a cold gene, and then you can protect one dinosaur for each cold gene you have. If you're on a yellow spot here, you'll die unless you have a hot gene, and then you collect, and you can save one dinosaur for each hot gene. So you can see there's different reasons to move around. But sometimes another dinosaur will be there, and then if you have, you can move in and try and force them out, and you roll an attack die, and this will depend on what you roll will let you kick them out or defeat them, depending on what you roll here and depending on how many horns you have on your sheet. Now there's all sorts of other special genes that can be gotten. There's genes that will in the future give you a discount, but there's also special genes that can be gotten here that give you all sorts of special abilities. One of my favorite is your babies, because at the end of each turn, you can have a baby depending on how many eggs you have. Each player starts with one innate egg, where they will reproduce one dinosaur on the board, but you can have multiple babies coming out. And I liked one of the special genes I have allowed you to attack with your babies when they came out. We called them killer babies. And on the back of the book you can see a listing of all the different special genes that are in the game, and also a little combat result table to show you what happens when you attack another dinosaur. At the end of each round, you will draw from a stack of tiles here, and it will tell you how to move this big rotating weatherboard, and eventually one of these tiles on the bottom is going to show you a meteorite, which means the game's over, and the player with the most points wins. Remember, you get points every time at the end of your turn for how many dinosaurs you still have on the board. I like Evo. It's a good game, and it offers a lot of very simple choices, but with a lot of strategy. The bidding system is really nice. It's in other games like Vegas Showdown and Amun-Re, but it works really well here. Outbidding someone, do you want to outbid them by 2 or 3 and placing your marker on a track, but eventually you're going to get to the point where you're just going to say, I'll take this one for free because it's not worth paying points to get a gene that's not going to give me that many points back. And do you want to load up on getting cold genes so you can stay in the cold areas, or hot genes to stay in the hot area, or there's just the special genes or the feet so you can just move around, or are you going to fight? And there's some neat aspects to the game in that regard, and I really like that. The different maps for the players works well. The only thing negative I would say, other than they should have different dinosaur shapes, the other way negative thing is the game is just a tad too long for what it is. But that's easily fixed. I just take out 2 of the tiles that change the weather, and the game is a few less turns. And then it seems to be just the perfect length. It's a very easy game to sit down and teach people. People will like the aspect of modifying their dinosaur. The artwork and presentation is tremendous. This is a very worthy repeat. And I think I can very successfully say that if you like Small World, you'll like this game also, because they're certainly cousins in game design.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Yeah?